there, time now for Back Pages tonight here on Sky Sports News, bringing you a first look at the sports stories in the morning's newspapers. Joining us are Charlie White, Chief Football Correspondent at The Sun, and the Daily Mirror reporter Ihsan Khan. Big welcome to you both. Let me run you through the Back Pages. We'll start with The Sun, Charlie's paper. And yes, we are still talking about Mo Salah after his fiery comments about Liverpool. And they lead with an image of Salah chatting with Jordan Henderson. Exceptional photo. Could he be sounding him out about life in the Saudi Pro League after, obviously, Henderson spent some time out there? Might he be trying to find out the inner workings of Liverpool? No one knows that club better than the former Liverpool captain Henderson. The Guardian, they cover the outrage over World Cup ticket prices as FIFA come in for yet more criticism. And there's news of Manchester United's latest financial figures. There was controversy, of course, over the cost-cutting measures that they took. It seems to be working. The splash, well, that's all about the fans on night one of the darts at Ali Pali. The darts have started, Christmas starts now. The Telegraph also covers ticket prices from FIFA, and they show Yuri Tielemans celebrating Aston Villa's excellent Europa League win at Basel. 2-1 the final score there. The Scottish Sun's digital platform reflects on a bad night for Celtic. They were well beaten on home turf as well by Roma. Evan Ferguson looking especially dangerous. 2 goals out of the 3 in that one. The same outlet covers Rangers as well. They fared no better in their European game, losing 2-1 to Ferencváros, managed by none other than the former Celtic striker Robbie Keane. Yep, let's immediately start with Mo Salah. Charlie, I'll come to you first. Your paper showing that picture with Mo Salah meeting the former Liverpool captain Jordan Henderson. How much do we know about this meeting? What were they talking about? It's an extraordinary photo.
Well, we don't know what they're talking about, but I think we've all got a fair idea, haven't we?
Go on, give us an inkling.
Well, I'm pretty sure Saudi Arabia was mentioned, wasn't it? Of course, as you just mentioned, Jordan Henderson had a pretty disastrous spell at Al Ettifaq, 2023? But yeah, it's an intriguing story, great pictures. It happened on Wednesday afternoon at an Italian restaurant, Scalini in Chelsea. So not too far from where Jordan Henderson's staying at the moment. Because obviously he plays for Brentford now. And they were there for 90 minutes. They nipped in, they sort of were wearing, according to those in the restaurant, they appeared and walked inside having been wearing COVID-style masks and hats to cover their faces. So they clearly didn't want people to see that they were nipping into the Italian restaurant. But obviously, once you're inside the restaurant, you've got to take your mask off, haven't you? And they chatted for 90 minutes and had coffees and sparkling waters, again, according to some diners there. And they were in deep conversation. And Salah was, doing a lot of listening to Henderson, obviously hugely respected figure, Jordan Henderson, captain of Liverpool, of course, a future manager somewhere. There's no doubt about that. Maybe Jordan Henderson was trying to get him to go to Brentford. But I think the way things are looking, I think it's more likely Saudi Arabia.
Ihsan, what do you make of this meeting then? There's been a lot of criticism about the way Mo Salah has handled this, but he's meeting up here with someone who's well respected in football, well respected within Liverpool as well. Do you feel as though perhaps there are people out there supporting Mo Salah in this way? Is that possibly what Jordan Henderson would have been doing?
Well, the fact that we're still talking about this story and the story's got so much legs this many days on just shows you the ramifications of this and what a surprise and shock this was over the weekend when that interview came out. It's a fascinating story. The picture in itself is a great get by the Sun here. And the situation involving Salah, it's got so many different layers to it. It's a messy one from different angles in terms of what he said and the content of being thrown into the bus and the other remarks he made. I think many people will agree that that was wrong and a silly move in any way. Obviously, Arne Slot's under much pressure. The last thing he needed was this to be stuck on his plate. Matters like this should be held in private. But then on the other side, you can understand why he feels aggrieved in some ways. Of course, been on the bench 3 games in a row. He's not the only player in this Liverpool team who's been underperforming. Cody Gakpo has been playing despite some poor displays. Florian Wirtz is yet to bed in. Alexander Isak bought for good money, and he's still not been firing. So you can understand why he feels aggrieved, but it's the way he has gone about this. And I'm sure with Henderson can only guess as to what's being said, but I'm sure, as Charlie alludes to there, will be Saudi Arabia, and I'm sure Henderson's comments on it will be a mixed one. He only lasted there, it was about 6 months before he decided that was enough and he wants to get out of there. So I'm sure it would have been a fascinating chat indeed.
Yeah, love to have been a fly on the wall in that restaurant. Charlie, we still don't know, I suppose, then, if Mo Salah will be a part of the Liverpool team that takes on Brighton on Saturday. I mean, we know that he's been dropped for 3 straight Premier League games. He started on the bench. Will he play? It's not long that he's got left before he's off to the Africa Cup of Nations with Egypt.
No, of course. Just a few days' time, it will be intriguing. It looks at this stage as though he's going to be leaving Liverpool. The signs are from some of the Saudi Arabian teams that they'd like him. I know you spoke to a few people there earlier, and a few people at other clubs are not so keen. But of course, he's not going to be short of takers. And the conversation going back to the Henderson thing, players. And someone like Henderson will be looking at it a different way to maybe Liverpool fans or even us. Players know that they can quite quickly be dumped by a team if they suffer an injury or if they're not wanted. So players do look at things in a different way. So I'm sure Henderson will be giving some sympathy to Salah and would probably understand his issues, even though, of course, Mo Salah has gone about it totally the wrong way. By the way he's been quite disrespectful, I think he'd really struggle to win over the Liverpool fans, even though he'll always remain in their eyes one of the greatest players that's ever played for the club. Of course he is, but I think at this stage, I think Liverpool should have moved him on last summer. I really do, but it looks as though I think it'll happen in January.
Yeah, incredible what a difference a couple of months made. Just 7 months ago, he was signing a new contract and everything was hunky-dory. My goodness me, things have definitely changed, haven't they? OK, let's turn our attentions now to the World Cup next summer. And there's been some controversy in regards to FIFA and the ticket prices. Quite a few fans groups have come out against what they say are extortionate prices. And when you look at them, and the pricing strategy that FIFA has employed, the final at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey for the final of this World Cup in 2026, upwards of £3,000. That's absolutely exceptional. Ihsan, what have you made of this? Because there's been quite a few groups that have come out and said that the fans aren't being looked at after, the prices are extortionate, ticket sales should be halted, whilst FIFA rethinks its strategy. What's your take on all of this?
Quite simply, it's an absolute farce, and it's just another example of fans being priced out and football not being a game for working class fans. You need to have a lot of money these days to go and watch football, which is a massive shame, especially for a World Cup, such a pinnacle event, to price out fans. It's ludicrous, really. And as you say, £3,100 for the cheapest ticket to the final. I think if you look at it from the wider perspective, the LA 2028 Olympic organisers, they've already said they will not be using dynamic ticket pricing that FIFA have done, and will put curbs on reselling as well in terms of how much you can resale tickets for. Whereas with this FIFA World Cup, people can buy tickets and hike the price up to whatever and make serious profits from the tickets, which is obviously not in the name of sport whatsoever. And as a consequence, instead of these stadiums being packed with fans who have followed their nations for years upon years, it'll be about who's got the biggest wallets, which goes against sport. But it's not really a surprise. We saw the protests in this country across the Premier League just even last season, and pretty much every season we see the protests of fan groups getting in uproar over ticket price, and none of this should surprise us. And unfortunately, unless I don't know what can be done is when with money in football and how lucrative these markets are, there doesn't look like to be an end in sight.
Yeah, as we
I,
see.
I I think
Go on,
I think
Charlie.
this is just an absolute disgrace. Is it a surprise? Well, yes and no. I mean, we knew that FIFA were going to, rinse football fans and the whole dynamic pricing. But today, the prices that have issued are for the member association. So this isn't dynamic pricing. Each country is going to get about 4,000 tickets. You've got 31,000 members in the England Supporters Travel Club, and a lot of those follow England home and away. And a lot of them have been saving for years for this World Cup. And they build up their points, and it's on a 4-year cycle where they get their points. So a lot of these England fans have been travelling England, watching England back to the Euro qualifiers to get their points up, just so they can get this this dream ticket to the World Cup. And then they've looked at the prices. And they're not in, FIFA was saying, well, there's a certain level of, the cheapest ticket. Well, that level is not even available for the member associations. So you're talking 150, 160 pounds absolute minimum. And I really feel really sorry for supporters around the world. It is, and I think it's incredibly upsetting. It's a really bad day for football today.
Yeah, and some of the back pages have pointed out here that England supporters will have to fork out a minimum of £200 to watch England take on Croatia in that opening group game as it stands. Charlie, Ihsan, thank you for the moment. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be looking at more of the sports stories in the morning's newspapers, including this in the Times. They cover Aston Villa's win over Basel, as they took their brilliant run of form into the Europa League as well. Tielemans makes it 8 wins in a row. We'll be back in a few minutes. Hello there, you're watching Back Pages tonight. Welcome back to Charlie Wyatt, Chief Football Correspondent at The Sun, and Daily Mail reporter Ihsan Khan. We have to talk about Aston Villa. Oh my goodness, back page of the Times. They splash with Yuri Tielemans. Tielemans makes it 8 wins in a row, they say. 8 wins in a row in all competitions, Charlie, including that massive win against Arsenal as well. They have really picked up some steam after a real struggle to the start of the season.
What an incredible story for Villa fans the last few months. I mean, as you mentioned, that they were, a few of them were really worried, and understandably so. But they've come on really strong. Great result over Arsenal. Really good result again in Europe. And of course, it does look as though they're pretty much certain to finish in that top 8, and that's really important. It means they're going to skip a playoff round in February, which of course is 2 games less. So in a season where all sort of the teams at the top are faced playing an awful lot, that's a really big deal. Good times again. They've got some good players. They've got, of course, a terrific manager who absolutely loves the Europa League, as we know. It's. I think the last few weeks and months has gone even better than Emery could have expected.
Yeah, Emery does love the Europa League. 3-time winner with Seville, 1-time winner with Villarreal as well. He knows his competition inside out, Ihsan. There's no surprising then that I suppose he's managed to get a tune out of this Villa side. But it's not just in the Europa League, it's also their Premier League form that has really picked up.
Yeah, I was at the Arsenal game last weekend, and it didn't surprise me to see Villa play the way they did. I know obviously Arsenal were in such good form and still are in good form, but at Villa Park, they're an absolute unit with that home crowd behind them. And what Unai Emery's done in terms of the job there, it's been extraordinary. His turnaround, I think it was 6 games at the start of the season without a win, and from there was a lot of pressure around Emery, and there were certain conversations as to where Villa's season would take them, whether they would be able to compete in the top 6, top 4, but since then he's really turned the corner, and you've got the likes of Emi Buendia. He scored the winner against Arsenal, provided an assist tonight, and they have got the depth there as well, especially in attacking areas. Like today, they made, I think it was 8 changes against Basel, tonight, which is a lot of changes to make and still beat a Basel side who played their best side. And as you say, with Unai Emery winning this trophy 4 times, you'd back them to go very far in this competition.
Yeah, really, really was. OK, let's look at the other British sides that are in action in Europe as well. Good night for Forest, an away win against Utrecht there. And also a good night in the Conference League for Crystal Palace, beating Shelbourne 3-0, Charlie.
Yeah, good and bad. Good for the English teams. Very, very bad again for the Scottish teams.
Yeah.
Forest doing well. Got a good manager, haven't they? Really sort of looking up for them. They could still get into the top 8. They've got Braga and Ferencvaros, so that's going to be tricky. Ferencvaros, of course, Robbie Keane, and what a night for him to get one over Rangers, and what a disaster, an absolute disaster they've suffered in Europe this year. Bad for Celtic again, but equally Crystal Palace, they'll be pleased with that, and they could still sort of squeeze into the top 8. They've got the game against Coops next week at home, so Palace finding it tough, not as easy as maybe Chelsea found the Conference League last year, but of course Chelsea had a much bigger squad. But I would love to see Palace go deep into this competition. I think they really deserve it, the way they were treated by UEFA and the way they were dumped out of the Europa League. So if there's one team I'd really like to see do well in Europe this season, the English teams, is actually Palace. Yeah,
and it was Forest that took their place in the Europa League, wasn't it, Charlie?
Was indeed.
OK, let's move on to Manchester United then. They've recently released their financial results. Back page of The Guardian, United debt hits £1.29 billion despite first quarter profit. Now, those profits were, I suppose you could say, controversial because of the way, Ihsan, that Manchester United went about cost cutting in terms of redundancies and taking away some staff benefits. That hit the headlines, but it does seem that those measures are actually working because the operating part of the business is in profit compared to a year ago.
Maybe so, but I still don't think the way they went about it was the right way in terms of the savings they made, in terms of the silly things about axing the Christmas parties and axing so many ordinary members of staff, especially staff who weren't paid that very much in the first place. It was it gained a lot of headlines, and was it worth it in the end? Of course, financially, from that report, it just seems to have it's going in the direction that Sir Jim Ratcliffe will have wanted. But what the headlines at the time, it was it created a lot of toxic headlines, and I thought the club could have gone about it in a better way.
Yeah, the Guardian article makes the point that since Ratcliffe took over as the minority owner in February 2024, they've made about 450 redundancies. What does this mean for spending budget in terms of players then, do you think, Charlie? Is this an opportunity, despite the record losses, for United to maybe spend some money in January in the transfer window? Because we do know that the manager is after a holding midfielder.
Well, I don't think an awful lot's changed, because I think this was expected, because if you do the amount of cost cutting that Manchester United have done, well, obviously, the financial situation is going to improve, sort of. But ultimately, of course, United need players. But equally, they need to offload, even more players, and maybe they'll be doing some business in January. But I think they need to get a few out before they can get them in. In terms of financial results, there'll be no Manchester United fans doing cartwheels today, because they know that their club has been mismanaged terribly. The debt is 1.29 billion, which is just bonkers. United are going in the right direction in terms of just not losing even more money. But I wouldn't say, exactly it's sort of a blazing success at the moment still.
Yeah, well, as Charlie mentions there, Ihsan, it's likely that United need to let go of some players. Could that possibly be Kobbie Mainoo? Because he doesn't seem to be getting much of a look in under Ruben Amorim.
Quite possibly, he's a young player, so you would assume that he would go for a decent amount of money, and he's a proven talent. We only have to look at what he did at the Euros last time out, and the performances that he's done in an England shirt, that shows the potential he has, and there's a real player there. But under Amorim, for whatever reason, because he doesn't fit into the tactical complexities of his system, he's not been given a fair chance thus far, and as it stands, his career is just frozen at the minute while he sits on the bench and barely gets minutes. So it's not in his interest or the club's interest for him just to sit there, especially when he's got his peak years ahead of him. So the right club and the right move for him at the right money would make sense for all parties, really. But he's not the only jigsaw here. There's so much more Manchester United need to do. It's not just about getting rid of Kobe or getting the right money for Kobe Mainoo. There's a plethora of problems, such as getting a defensive midfielder, and it's a complex situation across the whole situation.
Yeah, it really is. And of course, Manchester United next up against Bournemouth in the Monday Night Football, which is live on Sky Sports. Okay, back page of The Guardian again. I just want to draw your attention to a line on City, Charlie. Out of control is the headline. City win again, but are they too open to claim the big prizes? Of course, they got that really good win, didn't they, in the Champions League against Real Madrid, coming from behind, no less. Erling Haaland, that man again, with the winning goal. Are they too open to win the big prizes, or is this now a City side that can compete with the best again?
No, this is a City team that can definitely compete with the best. It's going to be a terrific season. It's not the one horse race in terms of Arsenal. I think some people expected Arsenal. I still make them favourites, but City could be there. And I mean, look, if Aston Villa keep doing what they're doing at the moment, I mean, you can't rule them out. I don't think Liverpool aren't going to challenge, are they? But Manchester City, I would expect, would really give Arsenal a run for the money, and Manchester City have the experience and they have Erling Haaland.
Okay. Just a quick note on the darts then as well, Charlie. Back page of The Guardian, getting bigger but staying the same. You can see the fans at Ali Pali. It's just something that's synonymous with Christmas, isn't it?
It is. I watched it. It was brilliant tonight. Luke Littler. I don't think he sort of realised he played as well as he did, but look, the atmosphere is brilliant. It's this time of year when you're hearing loads of people singing about Yaya Toure and Kolo Toure, which I still find utterly bizarre, and a load of people in the same room dressed as Shrek, the Incredible Hulk, Batman and Mary Poppins. You know the dance is back.
It's officially Christmas. Charlie Wyatt, Isan Khan, thank you for your company on Back Pages tonight. Great to have you with us. Speak to you soon. If you missed any of the show, there's another chance to see Back Pages tonight at hour. The show is also available as a podcast as well. Just download Back Pages on Apple or Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts.